Simultaneous equations are a little bit different from regular equations where you need to solve for x. How is it different? Well, we eventually going to build up to it, but usually in a simultaneous equations, they give you two equations to deal with at the same time. For the time being, I'm going to slowly build up to it, right? And I have two questions here, and in each of these questions, the green one is a separate question from the red one, and one in the red box. For the first one in the green box, I'm asking you to solve for x. And you will notice that I only gave you one equation. So this is not a simultaneous equation as yet. Like I said, simultaneous equations give you two equations. But anyway, let me see how you guys deal with this question. I have two different types of letters. I have x and y, but I want you to solve for x alone, which means, kind of from last week's work, you want to get x on one side and everyone else on the other side. Send the answer on the chat. And of course, simplify your answer if it's possible to simplify. So we want to solve for x. So I think last week we ended up with a question similar to this one. So if we want to solve for x, who is not connected to the x, right? And then the 5y's come like a zombie, the positive 5y, because the letter x is who we are trying to solve for, which means the -2 is the pet. So you throw across the positive 5y, and you get -5y. How much of you all had that at least? That you were able to throw across the positive 5y to get -5y. Now, how much of you all decided to minus the 20 and the 5 to get 15? From all the answers that I'm seeing on the screen there, real people did that by mistake. You cannot subtract 5y from 20. 20 does not have a y. So 20 and 5y clearly have different letter types. So that cannot be simplified. However, the question is not finished. Remember, I asked you all to solve for x. Remember, -2 comes like your pet. And at the end of the question, it is always throw across your pet, right? So, but it have two items waiting here. So which one do we divide by the -2? Remember, when you throw across a multiply, because -2 is a secret multiply. When you throw across a multiply, you do get a divide, but the sign does not change. But who gets divided by the -2? Do we divide the positive 20 by the -2, or do we divide the -5? Which one is the correct one to divide it by? Well, what do you all remember from last week? From last week, you would have heard me say, you divide both of them by -2, right? It has to be both of them, not one of them. If it have a million items waiting on the right-hand side, you would divide all million by the -2. Now, there's two ways you could do that. You could draw one big divide sign and put a -2 underneath. This means that both of them at the same time gets divided by -2. But most people don't waste time to do that. If this means that both of them get divided by -2, then write a separate divide sign for each one of them, and then separately divide each of them by -2. That's the best way. And remember, this 20 was positive 20. Now we can simplify it. 20 divided by 2 is 10. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. 5 divided by 2, I prefer if you use decimals today, especially for simultaneous equations. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Don't forget to put back the letter y. And when you divide 2 minus, you get a positive. This is as simple as it will get, because you cannot squish these two together, because one has a y and the other doesn't. This is our final answer. We have just solved for x. So I hope that refreshes your memory from last week. When you are finished, I want you all to try the red question. But for the red question, I want you to solve for y. So y's come like the good person. So the pet is the +5. So at the end of the question, you want y on one side and everybody else on the other side, right? So it's almost similar to the green question. Good luck and send your answers on the chat. So let's see what's going on with this question. Remember, this 6x right now is +6x. Last week, I was encouraging everyone to always put in signs, even when it's not in front of you. Physically write it in. So the first person we're going to throw across is +6x. When you throw across +6x, you're going to get -6x. So right now, we have +5y is equal to 18 minus 6x. Fine. We cannot squish these two together because one has an x and the other one does not. So the next person to throw across, well, we got a good color here. What color? I'll get white. This +5, remember, he's your pet and he's a secret multiply. When you throw across a multiply, just like over here, since you have both items weighting, the 18 and the 6x, you have to divide each of them individually by +5. Remember, the pet sign does not change. Also, this 18 is positive. I should have write it in, right? I'm always supposed to put in my signs. Great. So let's quickly simplify this. Let's see. Help me out here. 18 divided by 5. That's how much? 3.6, I believe, right? And a positive divided by a positive is a positive. 6 divided by 5. Remember, I prefer the decimals today. 6 divided by 5 is 1.2. Put back the x. And a minus divided by a positive is a minus. This is your final answer. And you notice I put in all my signs and I'm not afraid to waste ink to put in a sign. If it's positive, I'm writing it's positive. For those who got it wrong, you think you saw your mistake? Right? Apply. So, before we move on, just one more thing, right? We have a little rundown here. Simultaneous equations, they will always give you two equations. So you'll be given two equations. There will always be two different types of letters. So you're getting two equations with two different types of letters. And your job is to solve for both letters. Most of the times, it's usually X and Y, which means you have to solve for X and Y. Now, the question in front of you is not a simultaneous equation as yet, but it's going to help us. You think you all could do this question for me and send the answer on the chat? Just follow the simple instructions and send the final answer for that on the chat. Let's see what you come up with. So you want to solve for y. In other words, you want to find the value of y if x is 3. Now, notice all they're already asking you to do in this equation is go to this equation and pretend x is how much? 3. They want you to pretend x is 3. Or, in other words, we replacing x with 3. Now, in maths, this is a general thing in maths. Whenever you're replacing something with a value, you have to put it in brackets. So this is what it will look like. You have the letter y minus 2. We are throwing away this x. So we're going to throw him away and put how much? 3. But you have to put it in brackets. That's the general rule of maths when they ask you to replace something in maths. So it's just to work it out now. Let's see. Minus 2 multiplied by positive 3 is minus 6 plus 4. I'm running out of space here, but I'll put the answer here, right? Minus 6 plus 4 is minus 2. So what's the value of y? When x is 3 and we substitute it into the equation or replaced it into the equation, we got the value of y to be minus 2. Right? So it was a simple question. I really think the people who got it wrong, you over-taught the question. Okay? Right. So take down that if you got it wrong. I think the next slide should be Finally, how are we going to put everything together to get a simultaneous equation? How to solve it, sorry. Oh, we have a little riddle here. Let's hear what the guy has to say. What is wolf here? I am tall when I am young and short when I'm old. What am I? It's a riddle. Anybody? And it has a letter L in its solution. Some people got it already. Ah, too easy. The answer is a candle. Well, if it makes sense, right? Because when you now light a candle, it's tall, right? But as it burns, it gets shorter and shorter. All right. So hopefully the riddles will get a little bit harder. All right. So this here, I already laid out. This is a nice little sheet to have to kind of guide you on how to solve a simultaneous equation. We have plenty practice today. So if you don't get to the first rounds, do not get frustrated. We will do another one. So this is your simultaneous equations at the top of the page here. 4x plus 6y is equal to 40. The name of that equation, you usually call the first equation, equation 1. And the second equation is equation 2. And here is 5x plus 3y is equal to 41. Immediately, you see that you have two different types of letters. You have x and y. And how much equations they give you? Obviously, 2. Now, the aim of the question is to solve for x and to solve for y. And the name of the method is substitution. Now, listen to exactly what I'm saying. When we're using the substitution method, the truth is, you have two equations. You cannot deal with both of them at the same time. Okay? You cannot. So it's either you choose equation 1 and deal with him first, or if you want, you could choose equation 2 and deal with him first. The truth is, it doesn't matter which one you choose first. The working will look different. I agree with that, but you will get the same answer. But to keep things simple today, we're going to choose equation 1 first. And now look at the first set of instructions. I even wrote it out. So choose equation 1, that's the red one, and make who the subject? X. And when you choose equation 1 and you make X the subject and you simplify it as much as possible, you're going to name him what? Equation 3. So you think you all could do that step for me? I'm going to choose equation 1 here. 4x plus 6y is equal to 40. I want you, according to the instructions, make who the subject? X. Now, here's the thing. Equation 1 has an X and a Y. The truth is, after you choose equation 1, it doesn't matter if you make X the subject or Y the subject. You can choose any one to make it the subject. But let's just keep it simple and always make X the subject. Send me the answer for that. Right? And of course, if you get decimals, I prefer if you put the decimals today. Right? We'll see about rounding off and everything after. Right? So I'm going to get the habit of putting all my signs. So this 40 is really positive, so I should put in the 40, right? So we want to solve for x. So by now, everybody know we throw in across the positive 6y first. So you throw across positive 6y and you get what? Minus 6y. I think everyone at least got up to there, right? And who's next on the list to throw across? Well, the 4. Now remember, this is really positive 4. So when you throw across the 4, it have 2 people waiting here. Remember, we can't squish the 40 and the 6y together. Their letter types are different. By now, we know we have to divide everyone individually by Mr. Positive 4, the pet, whose sign does not change. He just changes to a divide. So that's all we have to do now, and we basically finish there. So how much is x now? 40 divided by 4 is 10. A positive divided by a positive is a positive. I see somebody said a positive divided by a positive is a negative. That's not true. 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. Don't forget to put back the y. and a negative divided by a positive is a negative. This is as simple as it will get. And we name this equation equation 3. So once we choose equation 1 and make x the subject, and we simplify it, we get to call it equation 3. 6, once again, 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. You can try it on your calculator. Great. Now, let me explain what this statement means, right? You know what an equal sign means? This means x has the same exact value as 10 minus 1.5y. Let me put that in perspective for you. In real life, you could have two things that look completely different, but it worth the same amount. Let me give you a very good example. If you have a red $1 bill in your hand, and somebody has 4.25 cents, and both of them look different, but they're worth the same amount, $1 and 4.25 cents look the same. So that means in a perfect world, if you have a $1 in your hand and I walk up to you and snatch away that $1 and put 4.25 cents in your hand to replace it, you're not supposed to get angry at me. But I know you will. All right? And I'll probably end up in the hospital. But in maths, you're allowed to grab things, throw it away, but replace it with things of equal value. So that means x is the same exact thing as this. In other words, the x come like the $1 and the 10 minus 1.5y come like the 4.25 cents. Quick question to make sure you're paying attention, right? Right? Which equation we haven't touched as yet? Which equation, right? We have not, even bothered to even look at us yet. Correct? Equation 2, right? So here's what. You see when you finally make equation 3, we take equation 3 and we run to the one we did not use as yet. And we just said that's equation 2. So we're going to run to equation 2. And anywhere we see the letter x, look at here. Look, Mr. X waiting there in equation 2. We're going to throw him away. Just pelt him away. And replace him with what? This guy here. Because we said x and this is the same exact thing, right? So I'm going to put the working up here. So look at it carefully here. We have the number 5 here. So that's this number 5. Look at have x here. We're going to throw away the x and put this. But remember I said, in maths, when you replace something, you have to put it in what? Brackets. So I'm going to put the positive 10 minus 1.5y here. You see, x used to live here, but he got kicked out. And then I write back the rest of the equation. Take down up to there, right? Make sure I take down all the notes as we go along, everything in the little colorful rectangles, okay? In maths, right, as the amount of letters get less, that means the question is getting simpler. So the less types of letters you have, the better. In fact, when the amount of letters is getting less and less and less, that means you're heading in the right direction. What do I mean by that? You will notice that at the beginning, look at the first equation. It had an x and a y. The next equation also had an x and a y. But look at this equation now. When we replace the x with equation 3, how much types of letters do you see? I ain't asking for how much letters, huh? I'm asking for how much different types of letters it has. Look at it properly. Do we have one type of letter or two types of letters? We only have one. The only letter that's involved here is the letter Y. X no longer exists, which means you're on the right track in maths as the amount of letters get less and less and less and less. In fact, in maths, you only want one letter. You never want two different types of letters. One letter is the perfect scenario. So we're on the right track. Now, from last week and the week before, you should be able to do this now. You see this equation on top? I want you to expand the brackets and solve for y. You all should be able to handle it from there now. Take your time. Remember, this 5 is already positive 5. This is a secret multiply. Multiply every one in the brackets by positive 5. And then gather all the good people and pets on one side and throw all these zombies on the other side. Good luck. Let me take my time here. 5 by positive 10, well, that's positive 50, right? I can't move too slow as we did this, 2 weeks ago. Positive 5 by negative 1.5y is minus 7.5y. And then, well, you have the positive 3y here, who was not in the brackets, and you have the equal to 41. How much people have up to there? And you have the signs correct as well. You have positive 50. I want you to write in the positive. Don't imagine it. And the negative 7.5. So make sure you have up to there correct. So what we're going to have to do now is solve for y. So the positive 50, he's a zombie. Throw him across. So you're going to end up with, how you say, you throw across the positive 50 and you'll get minus 50 on this side. Sorry about the little squish there, right? Let me see if I can make. So you throw across positive 50 and it changes to what? Minus 50. Great. So when you throw across the positive 50, right? We should simplify both sides now. Minus 7.5 plus 3y, I think that's minus 4.5y. Remember, when the signs are the opposite, you minus and then put back the sign of the larger one. And don't forget to put back the letter involved once. Help me out here, guys. Positive 41 minus 50. How much is that? Right? And guys, like I said, we have plenty examples today. I'm not going to be able to go through this question again, right? From beginning, but we have a next question after where you'll get to see it in play again. Help me out there, guys. Positive 41 minus 50. Minus 9, correct. But we're still not finished. We have an opportunity here to solve for what? Y. We want y alone on this side. So the pet is over here. The minus 4.5, which is the pet, is a multiply. Throw him across, you get what? A divide. Remember, the sign of the pet does not change. What's the final answer for y there, guys? 9 divided by 4.5 on your calculator. 2. And when you divide 2 minus, you are going to get what? A positive. So we're almost done with the question. The aim of a simultaneous equation is to solve for x and y. If somebody were to walk up to you now and said, hey, what's the value of y? You could give them an answer. Y is positive 2. We just need to find the value of x now. Don't worry. To find x is really easy. Look at the purple note here. Look at this guy here. What does he say? Run back to which equation? Equation 3. In fact, equation 3 is going to be your favorite equation and your most important equation. So go to equation 3. You will see that x is already the subject. Look at it here. X is already the subject. Let me get a different color here. X is equal to positive 10 minus 1.5. What do you think we should replace the letter y with? Take a guess for a fake $1 million. What should we replace the letter y with in equation 3? 2, positive 2. Because don't we know the value of y now? We just figured out the value of y is positive 2. That's important information. So go over here and in brackets, I'm going to keep saying it, replace this with positive 2. Now take your time. You have to BODMAS first. You have to multiply out the brackets first. So what will we get here? X is equal to, you have positive 10 here. 1.5 by 2 is 3. A minus multiplied by a positive is a minus. I'm running out of space here, so I'll put the answer over here. X is equal to 10 minus 3. X is 7. Well, positive 7. Now you're finished with the entire question, and you can take a deep breath and let out a sigh. All right. That's only a first example. I know if it's the first time you're seeing this, it's a bit rough, right? But give me a chance to do another example from scratch. Take down everything on the screen. Let me know when you're ready to move on. And the name of this method is the substitution method. All right. Now, I know it looked like it didn't change, but that's a brand new question on the screen there. So let's get started again. It's going to be the same instructions. We start off with 2 equations again, right? There's slight tricks here. This y is what? Really what? 1y. You have to put in the 1. And this 5 is positive, right? You know, wherever I don't see a positive sign, I'm going to put it in, right? So once again, 2 equations. To make things simple, we always going to choose which equation? Equation 1. And we're always going to make who the subject? X, just to keep it what? Simple. So according to the first instructions, I'm going to write down equation 1 here. Not going to change a single thing about it, right? Could you all make X the subject as requested by the instructions? Remember, I'm working with decimals today. It just makes everything a little bit easier. So good luck. Make Mr. X the subject. So we want to make X the subject. So we grab this positive 1y, we throw him across, we get minus 1y. All right? Now we're still not finished, obviously. We want to make X the subject. So you grab the pet now, who is a secret multiply, and then you divide everybody waiting on this side by positive 5. This 11 that was here all the time, he was positive 11, right? So we might as well put in the positive sign so we make no errors. When we make X the subject here, let's simplify this. We get X is equal to 11 divided by 5 is 2.2. A positive divided by a positive is a positive. 1 divided by 5, I'm real sure it's 0.2. Right? Check it back for those who don't have 0.2 here. Put back the letter y. A minus divided by a positive is a minus. This cannot be simplified anymore. And we get to finally call that equation, equation 3. Because when you choose equation 1 and you make X the subject, we get to call it equation 3. Right? So you forgot the letter y here, right? I'm just letting you know, right? Just in case. Great. Where do we put, now that we have equation 3, where do we run to? Which equation do we run to now? We always run to the one we didn't use as yet, which is equation 2. So, right, so we put on our jogging boots here, or shoes, and we run to equation 2. Now, when we run to equation 2, remember, wherever you see the letter X, you can throw him away and replace him with this. And I already have it lined up here, well, to make my life easier, basically. So this 6 here in equation 2 is really positive 6. I should probably put the positive. So I write back the 6, and look, Mr. X here. Well, he's not getting away. We're going to pelt him away and replace him with this. But I'm going to make sure and do it in what? Brackets. Positive 2.2 minus 0.2y. And I write back the rest of the equation as normal. Follow the instructions now. You notice we only have one type of letter. Look over here. We only have the letter Y. That's good news. Take your time, expand the brackets, and solve for Y. And send me that one answer for the time being. All right, let's take our times here, right? Positive 6 by positive 2.2, I get in 13, positive 13.2 on my calculator. Positive 6 by negative 2.5y is negative 1.2y. And then we write back everyone else, right? We have the minus 2y is equal to what? 18. How much people have up to there? Like you have the signs correct as well. And well, obviously the numbers that are red, right? So look for any little, obviously if they get the top part wrong, everything else underneath is going to be wrong, right? Right. So now we want to solve for the letter Y. So we're going to keep all the Y's and their pets on this side. We don't care about this positive 13.2. He's a zombie. Throw him across. When you throw across the zombie, the positive 13.2, you're going to get minus 13.2. Let's simplify each side now. What can I use? Red. Right. Minus 1.2 minus 2y. When you're adding and subtracting, if these signs are the same, you add, I think that is what? 3.2y. And then you put back the sign of the larger one. 18, well, this is really positive 18 minus 13.2. Positive 18 minus 13.2 is positive 4.8. I think I have that correct. So now it's just to solve for Mr. Y. So we throw across the pet. The minus 3.2 is a secret multiply. Throw him across, he becomes what? A divide. But his sign does not change. How much is Y there? A positive divided by a negative is a negative. I need my calculator for the other one. 4.8. I'm getting 1.5. The answer for Y is minus 1.5. So we're almost there, guys. If somebody were to ask you, hey, what's the value of Y? You could give them a firm answer. Y is minus 1.5. So once we get our first answer, read the purple instructions here. We always run back to equation 3. So let's run back to equation 3, our friend, right? And x is equal to positive 2.2 minus 0.2. Look the y here. Throw away that y and in brackets put minus 1.5 because that's the real value of y. Do the multiplication here first. Remember, there's a secret multiply here. Positive 2.2. I need my calculator for this. 0.2 multiplied by 1.5 is 0.3. And when you multiply 2 minus, you get a positive. Well, I don't have space there, but I'll put the final answer for x here. 2.2 plus 0.3 is positive 2.5. I have it correct there. Let me know if I made any mistakes. I had a hard day as well. So you're finished. You can firmly say x is positive 2.5 and y is negative 1.5. Oh, we have a little riddle here, right? Wait, no. Hope it's not the same riddle. Oh, this is a cool one. I could not get out this one without looking for the answer. I shave every day, but my beard stays the same. What am I? Sarah, correct. Tyler, close, Tyler. Sarah, have it correct. Anybody else want to take a shot? The answer. It's a barber. He shaves all the time, just not his head or beard, right? But the answer would be barber. All right, let's move on. All right, I want you all to start off on this one. Let's see how much progress you can make on your own without my jumping in too early. So 5 minutes head start. Let's see what you come up with. What, huh? I'm going to put in all my signs and things that I'm missing, so there's no mix-up. In this question, this is positive 2x. This y here is really 1y, so I put it in, right? I'm taking no chances. So once again, according to the first instruction, we choose equation 1, and we just make who the subject? X. Throw across the positive 4y, throw him across, you get minus 4y. All right. And then the positive 2 is a multiply. Divide everyone here by positive 2. And this 26 is a positive. All right, let's see what we get here. 26 divided by 2 is 13. When you divide two positives, well, you get back a positive. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Don't forget to put back Mr. Y. A minus divided by a positive is a minus. How much people have that for equation 3? Now, we're far from finishing, but remember, we have to get equation 3 correct first. Great. So we're going to take equation 3 and run back to the one we did not use as yet, which is equation 2. So when we go to equation 2, wherever you see x, you're going to throw him away and replace him with positive 13 minus 2y, but in brackets. So I have it laid out here already, right? I have the minus 3. Look in here. Replace the x. We get a different color. You have positive 13 minus 2y. And then you write back everyone else. I put them back for 1 here. A positive 1y and a minus 4. Right, so I'm not going to do all as yet. For those who didn't reach here, take your time now and expand the brackets and solve for what? Y. Okay, good luck. These brackets. Minus 3 multiplied by positive 13 is minus 39. I think some people put positive 39 here by mistake, right? So I think that's why some people may have a different answer. Minus 3 multiplied by minus 2y is positive 6y. And then we write back who? The positive 1y, and we put back equal to minus 4. Right, so look for your mistakes here. I think it's sign mistakes that are the problem. So we want to solve for y. So whoever doesn't have a y, like this minus 39 here, the zombie, throw him across. Minus 39, when you throw him across, becomes positive 39. So let's simplify here. Add up all the y's. But it's easy. Positive 6y plus 1y is positive 7y. Is equal to minus 4 plus 39. I think that's positive 35. And it's just simply to solve for y now. Throw across the positive 7, who's a secret multiply. Throw him across, it becomes a divide, but his sign does not change. We're almost done. Divide to positive, you get a positive. 35 divided by 7 is 5. And a lot of people got 5. So look for your mistakes. So obviously, if you get y wrong, then x is going to be wrong. Right, so I'll give everybody a chance from there. Read the purple instructions underneath. So we run back to equation 3. We have positive 13 minus 2, and we just figured out y is positive 5. Positive 13, 2 by 5 is 10. Negative by positive is a negative. Now, I think some people had x wrong. 13 minus 10 is 3. For the people who are saying it's 2, just check it back now. I'm pretty sure I didn't make a mistake there. X is positive 3. Right, so the question did change. Good luck with this one, right? So I'm hoping everyone can produce the correct answer for this one way before I start to work it out. 5 minutes should be enough. All right, so let's see. Same procedure. So we're going to choose equation 1, or writing back equation 1 here. And we're going to make who the subject? X. All right. So we throw across the positive 3y. We're going to get what? Minus 3y. And this positive 6, well, he's a multiply, right? Throw him across. Everyone here gets divided by positive 6. Right? Now this is positive 26. So let's see what we get over here. X is equal to 26 divided by 6. 26 divided by 6. Well, a positive divided by a positive is a positive. How much people were seeing 4.333333333? That's 4 and 1/3. 26 divided by 6. Make sure you see it on the calculator. I want to show you how to work around these crazy decimals. Remember, I told you all, a good strategy is always to work to 2 decimal places. So don't put 4.3. Be a little bit more accurate and put 4.33. If you round off too much, your final answer will be affected. Some people just use 3 decimal places, right? But let's go with 2. That's safe enough. 3 divided by 6, well, here's just 0.5. We don't even need to round off that, right? Right. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. Now, remember, it's 4.33, not 4.34. Because if it's 4.3333, you just only add 1 if the number after is 5 or more. So you can't put 4.34. It's definitely 4.33. So this here is equation 3. Where do we always run to? Well, I've been saying it for about half an hour now. Run back to the equation we did not use as yet. So that's Mr. Equation 2. Look, the minus 5 here, and this is the x we plan to replace. So you have positive 4.33 here, minus 0.5y, and then we write back the positive 2.5 and the minus 9. How much people had opted there? You didn't let the decimals bother you. You just played it like a normal question. You kept you cool, right? Great. Great. So let's just take our time now and multiply the brackets. We have calculators, we have technology. Let's use it, right? Right. Right, so once again, 4.34 is wrong, right? Because that's bad rounding off, right? If I ever see somebody round off bad in an exam, I minus a mark right away, right? So 4.33, that's proper rounding off. So let's move on. So let's take our time here. Minus bar positive is our minus, and I have my calculator. 5 multiplied by 4.33. Anybody getting this? Minus 21.65. Remember, I'm using 2 decimal places. Please follow suit. Don't do your own thing. Otherwise, your numbers will look different from mine. Minus by minus is a positive. 5 multiplied by 0.5y is 2.5y. And then we have the positive 2y and Mr. Minus 9. We good so far, guys? All your numbers exactly like how mine is. No difference, right? Don't want a difference, so it will cause an issue. right? So what we're going to do now, we want to solve for y. So we take this minus 21.65, throw him across. Minus 21.65 becomes 21.65. No problems there. Let's just simplify each side of the equal sign. 2.5y plus 2y, that's positive 4.5y, minus 9 plus 21.65. Remember, when signs are different, we minus. So we take 21.65 and we minus 9. We're going to get what? 12.65. And we put back the sign of the larger value. And we're almost done here. We want to solve for y. This 4.5 is a multiply. Throw him across. We get what? A divide. When we divide this, we get the value of y. When you divide two positives, you get a positive. 12.65 divided by 4.5 is 2.811111. So it's 2.81 properly to 2 decimal places. That's your answer for y. See if you can get the value for x now. Run back to equation 3. Follow the purple note. Right? Take a few seconds, look for errors, and finish off the question for me. So we run back to equation 3. Now, I can erase things on the screen here, right? So it have the letter y waiting here in equation 3. And it's going to erase that y. And in brackets, I'm going to put what? 2.81. Well, positive 2.81. We have to do the multiplication first. So we get x is what? 0.5 by 2.81. Now look at the number we get. I'll round it off properly for you all. When you multiply this, you get 1.405. Check it on the calculator. Now, remember, we're going to 2. We stick into 2 decimal places. And so if the third one is 5 or more, we have to add 1. So in this case here, we'll get 1.41. A minus multiplied by a positive is a minus. And who waiting here? Mr. 4.33. Let's work, well, I can work it out and put the answer over here. Positive 4.33 minus 1.41. And we get in 2.92. How much people got that before me? But you have to use proper rounding off. Right? If you let me just keep it safe, right? I know some of you are still going to round off the 1 decimal place, so might do your own thing, right? So once you get something close, like if you get 2.9, I'll call it correct. For y, if you get 2.8, I'll call it correct, right? Now, McDonald, that is also correct, right? That I will consider that correct as well. Oh. All right. Now, sorry for the question changing so fast, right? It's just like a flash and the sliders has changed. So in this question, I decide to put a decimal for x. Nothing is wrong with that. It's 0.5x. Don't let the 0.5 bug you. It's just a regular boring number. And this minus x here is really minus 1x. And this positive y is really 1y. So I want you to physically write it in. Try this question and don't let that 0.5 get to you. Follow the same exact steps. Good luck. I'll give you 5 minutes as usual. Correct. 0.5x plus 7y is equal to 8. All right, so we're going to take positive 7.5, get minus 7y, and then we divide everyone by what? We divided everyone by 0.5. Well, positive 0.5. Right, so That should give us equation 3. 8 divided by 0.5. I hope you all got 16 on that calculator, right? Number 0.5 and 5 is different. When you divide two positives, you get a positive. 7 divided by 0.5 is 14. Make sure you see it on your calculator. Put back the y. And when you divide a minus and a positive, is a minus. How much people could confirm that you have your equation 3 correct? Right, so remember over here, the -1, I should put in more 1 here, just now. And I should put in more 1 here, right? That is this and this. So we run to equation 2 as usual. Look at this x here. Replace him with positive 16 minus 14y. And then you just take your time and multiply out the brackets. -1 by positive 16 is minus 16. -1 by minus 14y is positive 14y. Then you write back positive 1y is equal to -6. Right? I trust everyone has up to there. It's just a matter of solving for y now. So some different colors. We got blue. -16, throw him across, you get positive 16. Simplify this, and put an equal sign. 14y plus 1y is 15y. -6 plus 16 is positive 10. I'm pouring my signs here, right? So I have no errors. We want to solve for what? Y. My positive 15 is a multiply, throw it across, you get what? A divide. Now over here, the thing about it, this 10 divided by 15. We all know this is 0.66666666. So you can put 0.67. But isn't this a real nice decimal from primary school? And 0.666666 is really what? 2/3? I just feel bad about rounding off 1/3 and 2/3, right? But they're saying, right, the official value would be 2/3, right? But I know we agreed that we're going to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to stick with my word, right? So this is why 0.67 or 2/3. Now, when you go to equation 3, you're erasing the y, right? So I could do that because I have a computer screen here. Wait, erase that. And put what? Positive 0.67. You can put the positive sign here to be real accurate. Multiply out the brackets first. How much is this? 14 by 0.67. That is minus and a positive is a minus 9.38. I don't have space there, so x is how much? 16 minus 9.38. Roughly positive 6.62. Right? I know some people might put in the 2/3 over here and then use your fractions button to work out. But the reason I didn't put in the fraction, the 2/3, because I know not everyone in this class knows how to use the fractions button on the calculator. So I don't want to complicate everything. So I'm sticking to something simple like decimals. Right? And any reasonable teacher will give you this correct, right? Because we're going to 2 decimal places. That's reasonable.